Hello and welcome to the first part of this video tutorial. My name is Blackjack Johnny, and today we're going to be starting where the intro video left off, and we're going to be taking a look at creating basic portal cells. If you haven't already watched the introduction video, then I strongly suggest that you do before you continue with this particular video. It contains vital information and explanation that will be crucial to us in understanding this and any of the other following parts of this tutorial. So with that being said, if you did watch the intro vid, you will recognise this as our basic test map to get us started with portaling. At this point, it's probably worth taking a little time to talk about map design and its relationship with portaling. If we look at this example map like it was before we added these internal walls, it's just a big open box, right? So when we design our maps, it will serve us well to keep half a mind on portaling as we design it. When I was designing this map, I took this into account and I looked for ways to add structural brushes into it to give us a good portaling creation situation. And I decided for this design to add the internal walls as a way to add our crucial structural brushes. This now gives us a very easy job when it comes time to portal this map. Obviously, this is a very simple map, but it serves its purpose for this example, and in later videos we will be exploring far more complicated situations. But for now, we have our design, and the first step we have to take is we have to decide what structural brushes are essential to us for creating our portal cells most effectively. In this case, it is as expected, very easy. We need the external walls, we need the floor, we need the ceiling, and all of these internal walls to be structural. Every other brush that is not essential to creating our portal cells can be made detail. As mentioned in the introduction video, we make these non-essential brushes into detail brushes to optimize for viz, and also it makes it clearer for us to create our portal cells when we filter out everything we don't need for portaling. As we also talked about in the intro vid, we're going to turn each of these rooms into individual portal cells. It makes the most portaling sense for this map, and when portaling, a good deal of portaling is down to a logical way of thinking. A little bit more on that later, but now we are ready to create our first portal cell. Woohoo! So, where to start? Why not start in this corner? Yep, let's start up here. First, let's clear up our view a little by filtering out everything we don't need to create our portals. We haven't got much in this case, but I'm going to filter out detail brushes, entities, and lastly lights. That now leaves us with a crystal clear view of our structural brushes. And there are a few rules to follow when creating portal cells, and the first of these is making every portal cell we make airtight. In this case it's pretty easy. We're going to make this room into one portal cell. So if we focus on this room only, I'll select all the brushes that make up this room and then press Alt H. This will hide all unselected everything, but don't worry, we haven't deleted it, it's just hidden. And this gives us an even clearer view of the brushes that make up this room. And also, I've only split these brushes up like this for the demonstration. Normally I wouldn't bother. But as we can see, aside from the doorways, we have a basic room, right? So to turn this room into a portal cell, we need to block up these doorways with portal brushes. And when we do, all of these structural brushes will become almost an extension of this portal brush and will be integral to the success of the creation of this cell. And as such, any gaps in these brushes will create a leak, very much the same as our skybox leaks. If all the brushes don't make a sealed environment, the portal cell will fail and the compile log will throw up an error. Something like portal has same cell on both sides and will be ignored. So our first job is to make sure that all our brushes that make up this room or cell are nice and snug and tight. So just go around and make sure there's no gaps. Once you're happy, it's all good, we're now going to fill these doorways with our portal brushes to complete this sealed cell. The next thing we need to do is locate the textures we use to create our portal brushes. Either go to textures usage tools or just use the texture search function and just type portal. There are a few portal textures here, but we only need two to create a portal cell. We need this portal node draw and this portal texture. The next rule with creating a portal cell is the proper creation of portal brushes. When we draw a portal brush, we draw it using the portal node draw texture covering the entire brush. The portal node draw texture is designed to do nothing but facilitate the use of the portal texture. It's the portal texture that the engine uses to create the actual portal, and this texture is also applied in a certain way. So to create our first portal brush, select the portal no draw texture and draw in a brush in the doorway so it fills and lines up perfectly with the surrounding brushes. Any gaps with the portal brush will also cause a leak, so just make sure it's perfectly lined up and make sure it's not sticking out like this, for example. Just make sure it's perfectly lined up with the brushes. When happy, come over to the other doorway and draw in a similar brush. Just make sure it's all nicely lined up as well. And remember, the portal no draw texture does nothing until we apply the portal texture, so we haven't quite created a cell just yet. To finally create our first cell, we need to apply the portal texture to both of these portal no draw brushes. And the rule when it comes to applying this texture is applying it to one face of the brush only. This is very important. If we have more than one face textured, this will also return an error in the compile and the portal will be ignored. So remember, when applying the portal texture, apply it to one face only. So which face do we apply this to? Well, in this case it's actually pretty easy. Since this is essentially an internal space, we can select either face and apply it. This will change with more advanced portaling, but in this case any face will do to start with. Once we've applied the texture to this face, deselect and come over to our other brush here. And when it comes to applying the texture on this brush, we want to do kind of the opposite face on this one. So for example, if this, we've textured this face, so we want to texture the outside face of this one. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense now, but trust me, a little bit later on it will. You want to kind of do it this way, and I'll get into explaining that a little bit later on. So if you've textured this face, then carry on and texture this side of the face. That done, we should have completed our first portal cell. Congratulations with that. The last piece of advice that I'm going to give for this tutorial is that once we feel we've completed a portal cell, at this stage we should probably do a test compile of the BSP. When we do that, the compile log will be the first place we look for indication of any problems with this cell, and if there are, then if we do this one cell at a time, it'll be much easier for us to come back in and fix it, because we know that we've only got this cell. If there's a problem with it, we know it's in this area. So let's just do a quick test of the BSP. I'm using the World at War set of tools here, so I'm using this launcher. Depending on what version of the tools you're using, it'll be different, but it's just a quick test compile anyway. So select your map. I'm just going to tick the BSP option in this case, and I'm just going to hit compile. Chances are, if there is an issue, it'll be at the beginning of the compile log, so just let it run through to completion, and then we'll just come back through and check for errors. Oh no, all seems to be clear. So with that, we can take it from that our cell is working perfectly. We don't have a problem. So we're going to come back into Radiant now and create our next cell. So what we need to do is we need to unhide everything we hid before. So just press Shift H to bring everything back. We're going to carry on to this room and create a portal cell in here, and to do that, again, it's just the same process we did with these other doorways. We need to fill this doorway in with our portal no draw texture. We need to apply the portal texture on this side of the brush. If we come in and take a look at the other one, it's on this side, so let's do it on this side. And of course, go around and check all your brushes that make up this cell. Like I explained, making the first cell, all of these brushes are now integral to this cell, and if there's any gaps you'll have errors. So do a quick test compile on this, and once that comes back clean, you want to continue on until you've added a portal brush in each of these doorways, and compile and test. And hopefully, if you've been successful, we have just completed our fully 100% portaled map, and hopefully that's given you a good explanation into the basic creation of making a portal cell. And in the next part of the tutorial, we'll be taking a look at portaling basic buildings, and we'll be taking a look at portaling basic outdoor areas as well. So hopefully you'll join me in that tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed this part of the tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.